after the work is out there in the world, it's not about me. Who the fuck cares what was going on in my life? If it matters to you and it means something and it helps you feel seen, helps you fucking rage out, helps you whatever, do the miraculous thing that music does, then I'm just like, cool, say less. I'm good.
I already told you how much I really love the record. All Born Screaming. I read that you had that title in mind since you were 22. What's the story there?
My friend Toby, who's a great friend of mine, who is I've known since I was in high school and is the reason why I joined the Polyphonic Spree. We were talking one day in 2005, and I don't know, just that phrase came up in conversation, and I was like, "Ooh, all born screaming." So I wrote a song at the time, which was not any good, but I had it sort of squirreled away as like, oh, I'm going to use that one day. But I think music is mysterious and it sort of reveals itself to you when you are ready and when you are a sort of rightful recipient of it, when you've earned it. So I think I had to live a lot of life to really earn the title All Born Screaming. And so finally got there.
When you finally earned, as you say, this music or presented itself to you, the music on this record, where did it begin? Was there an image that came to mind? Was there a song that came to mind, a sound that came to mind that became time to start working on this thing?
Well, I think I look at music like it's a practice, right? Like when I'm not, in rehearsals or doing, promo or other things, I'm in the studio and I'm just like making stuff and I'm throwing things at the wall. So it's like a just a constant thing that I'm doing. And most of the music I make, nobody ever hears, right? A lot of the music I make is kind of like, okay, that's not anything that should ever see the light of day, right? But it's a practice. But you go in and you do it because you're an artist, so you practice. So this came about with me being really into trying to find new sounds in a sonic lexicon and going, modulars and old drum machines and electricity through analog circuitry. What's that sound like? What's this? What happens if I turn all these knobs? And so I would set everything up, drum machines, sync them all up so they were in time with one another mostly, and then just play, just play by myself in the studio. And so many songs from this record kind of came from that playing and that exploration, whether it's the bass time from Big Time Nothing or the modular loop in Broken Man that I built a whole song around. It's like, just following sounds and trusting that if you're in there kind of doing the thing, eventually, if you come at it righteous enough, it will reveal itself to you.
I find that really interesting that in this era where all of those drum machines and all of those sounds are available to you on your computer for the cost of a $3.99 download, that you're finding something in the analog nature of electronic or electric music.
Well, I think philosophically that it's interesting to me because it is electricity moving through analog circuitry, and where there is that, there is chaos, and there's chaos to be harnessed, and there are things you do not expect. With plugins and things like that, there's not the opportunity for that kind of chaos. So I was like, okay, if I can start from a place of chaos and harness it into something orderly, then it will be alive from the beginning. It will start with life, instead of starting from, a splice loop or whatever, and I'm not disparaging that other way of doing things because I think, listen, artists are gonna create, creators are going to create. They're going to, whatever tools they have at their disposal, they're going to use, and that's exciting. But for me, philosophically, for this record, it was like, nope, it's got to start. It's got to start with chaos.
What are the challenges and advantages of that?
Well, the challenges are like, I mean, the nerdy part of that is like this this old drum machine doesn't take MIDI, and this one takes CV, and how do you get the right cable to convert this MIDI to CV, and why is that not clocking right? And oh, okay, you got to get a master clock and offset the clock delay so that things are grooving, and then like that's part of that is just like the technology as technology evolves, starting from the early drum machines in say the 60s, and then into the 70s and the 80s where MIDI really caught on. Like there's a lot of just kind of like parts that don't necessarily want to talk to one another. So there's that just nerdy part. And then I think also the artistic challenge is that, yes, it's so fun for me to set up all my toys and make industrial dance music all day. But what's the song? What's the heart? What's the spine? And finding that, it's the most important thing.
I
I believe in albums. I believe in songs.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's got to be a song.
Yeah, you don't want these things to be the exercise in a philosophy or the exercise in an idea or even like at worst case, like an ideology. And just because I've heard records like that are sort of like, I had this idea that, and here it is. But you're right. They also need to be songs. They need to have heart. They need to have beauty in them. They need to have something in them.
Absolutely. And it's that dance and that balance. And, music is so many things, but it's like a deep dance between rigidity and fluidity. Where is it pushing, tension and release, rigidity, fluidity. Where is it pushing? Where is it pulling? Where does it finally let go? Like, that's the whole game.
I'm relying on the internet for this, so I'm ready to be corrected. But as far as I could tell, this is the first full-length record you've made that you produced by yourself. You've co-produced albums in the past, but this is the only album I found with just your name on it. It's also the first album I've seen that says St. Vincent as the producer, not Andy Clark as the producer. So I don't know if there's any meaning there. But why was this album the one where you wanted to steer the ship by yourself?
I just knew that, well, one, immense curiosity, right? Like I've been recording myself on computers since I was 15.
Wow.
And so that's how I learned how to write. That's how I learned to arrange. That's how I learned how to find out what my voice was. And honestly, for better, for worse, because recording is a mirror, and it's a mirror that doesn't lie. And so you kind of have to face it and go like, ooh, I know what my hero sound. I know what I'm trying to sound like, and I'm not there yet. Okay, let me go back to the drawing board. So that's always been my process for writing and everything, is to record it by myself in a room. So there's that. But also I just have an immense curiosity for, like, sound matters to me. Sonics matter, things sounding really intentional matters to me. Like there's a reason why in a song, there's a reason why something is distorted and something is fluttering. And it's because it adds up to the sort of emotional meaning of the song. And songs are architecture. Songs are texture. Like it's so important to me to just to create this world. So sorry to recap. One is like, I'm really curious. And if I'm not good at something, I want to ask questions and figure out how to get better at it. And I'm just want to be able to do stuff and not have any impediments to my creativity. Two is that, like, emotionally, this record could only have been done, with me fully at the helm because it's the sound of the inside of my head. So I can't ask someone to paint a picture by describing it to them. I just have to paint the picture, you know?
More than other records?
Well, no, no, no. I mean, with other records, I've had really great collaborators on and producers where your goal is to like dream the same dream together, right? And it's so fun and it's beautiful. And I loved working with Congleton. I loved working with Jack Antonoff. Like we're all bros still. But for this one, it's like, no, I need to find my language um, when there's nobody else in the room going, yeah, great, cool, we got it. It's like, no, only you can kind of be the ultimate, compass, or only you know what the North Star is.
Are you changed by that? I mean, how was that experience for you coming out of it?
Well, I mean, there were parts of it that were totally brutal and like you're mired in self-doubt
And you
and
don't have anyone to
you
bounce it off of, right?
yeah, and you don't know if it's what it is or if it's cool, but you just keep going. But I think I walked out of it like um incredibly empowered. I mean, I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and I also I think because of some, whether it's the subject matter of the songs, like I sang things 100 times because I knew that it wasn't there yet. And not, it wasn't there yet in the sense of like, oh, it's not perfectly in pitch or the timing, not that. Like, I wasn't there yet emotionally.
Yeah.
And so, okay, great, sing it again. I sang Hell is Near 100 times. I sang Reckless 100 times. And that's just something I wouldn't, I'm the, um, you know, a reasonably thoughtful person. I just wouldn't put anyone else through that, you know?
I read this quote from you that I've been thinking a little bit about. You said in an interview, I don't think songs are meant to be autobiographical puzzles for people to figure out. And I've been thinking about that a lot, especially, I mean, today with the Taylor Swift album coming out. And I just feel like I'm reading articles and after articles after articles about, oh, this line means that, and this, she's referring to this person, and this was this time in her life where she did this. It makes me feel kind of funny. So how do you draw boundaries about what you're willing to share in your art and around your art and the way your life intersects with it?
Well, I come at it from a music fan perspective, which is that when I love a song, it's mine. And it's about whatever it means to me and about whatever is going on in my life. And I bring my whole self to it when I love it. And so I think with, for example, Daddy's Home, which is my last record, which dealt with very autobiographical subject matter, but I also felt like, I don't know how I can have a record called Daddy's Home and not talk about like, yeah, well, my dad's home from the clink. So, obviously, but then I think because of the timing of it, it was like, ooh, wrong. It got a little, the messaging sort of got away from it, which is like, no, I made a record about, about like transforming myself into the kind of music that my father introduced me to and loved. So as far as the sort of autobiographical stuff, I think for me personally, this work is so personal. It's universal. We all cross that river at some point. We all, you know, go through these sort of like massive life milestones and portals. And I would never want to explain something in a way that robbed a listener of their own experience and interpretation. And I also feel, and this is just me, like this is just my own, but like after the work is out there in the world, it's not about me. Who the fuck cares? what was going on in my life. If it matters to you and it means something and it helps you feel seen, helps you fucking rage out, helps you whatever do the miraculous thing that music does, then I'm just like, cool, say less. I'm good.
Yeah, I think at its best, it's a way of relating that artists who are considered gods by a lot of media, we get to hear that they're going through the same thing we're going through at its best. But at its worst, it's gossip and it removes the emotional impact of the music itself. You start listening to it like a podcast. Like, oh, I get it. It's about this. It's about this person's breakup or this person this. And you don't get fully moved by the music.
Just put everything in the work. That's why I just try to put everything in the work and make work that I think is like beautiful and
Yeah.
excellent, and anything that comes as a result of that, materially is such a cool bonus. And I'm really lucky that I'm 7 records in and people care more now than they did at the
Yeah.
beginning. And I get to be an artist, and that's an artist for a living, which is a crazy thing. I know you're Canadian, but it's crazier to to somehow manage to be an artist in
It's
America.
yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Anyway,
to be an artist in 2024 is wild too.
yeah.
I want to play a little clip of you making the track "Flee," which is one of my favorite sort of grimy, greasy tunes on this record. This is you creating this scratching sound. Just take a listen to this.
Walking down so sunny street.
These make me laugh a lot. It's Justin Meldal Johnson at Electrical Audio going.
I got it.
Can you talk us through what we're listening to there?
Yeah. That's Justin Meldal Johnson, who is one of the best bass players ever and an incredible producer and total head. People know what head means, right?
No, I do, but I don't think the average person does know.
Oh, should we explain it? Okay, just not to be like didactic, but just a head is like somebody who really knows music.
Yeah,
Like,
in the South they call it a hoss sometimes.
oh, okay, a hoss.
Yeah.
Okay, so like he's a head. Like when I think of like heads in my life, I'm like, okay, JMJ, he's a head. Like Questlove, he's a head. But like a head. So anyway, that's Justin Meldal Johnson. And we were at Electrical Audio, which is Steve Albini's place in Chicago. We were recording some stuff for Flea, and we did some stuff for Broken Man, and we did some stuff for Big Time Nothing there. And I just wanted these like, ooh, like, ooh. And so that's him doing that on a mic. There's also a video of us that is absolute blackmail material. Where we are like, nothing. Paul, like, get the pit going. Let's like so. But yeah, we had a good time, and he's a real ripper. He's so serious.
As a fan of music, there's in one of those Instagram videos you put up, you talk about calling up Tori Amos while you're working on this record. As a music fan, and Dave Grohl's on this record too. And I guess I don't know how old you are, but I guess you were around when Nevermind came out and Nirvana came out and all that stuff. Can you describe that feeling as a music fan of being able to call up artists you had great admiration for as a teenager?
Tori is such a genius. And I swear to God, I don't throw that word around. But Tori takes us to places that only Tori can take us to. She absolutely goes there. And I mean, I first heard her when I was 13 or 14, and she scared the hell out of me. I was like, what is this? And then I kept listening.
What was scary?
because she goes there emotionally. She goes there. And then I think I have a deep obsession with her record from the Choir Girl Hotel, which is, again, look at the credits. She's the producer. I mean, she's 100% there, tapped. And so I struck up a friendship with her. I mean, I more or less begged for a friendship with her, let's be honest, a number of years ago. And yeah, she's just one of those people who, I think it's like, they say don't meet your heroes, but I think that very much depends on the hero. And she's just a reminder to me to like go there, to just go there, go to the hard places, go there. Because she takes us to heaven and she takes us to hell.
Thinking about your career, so many albums in, being this sort of, at this point, pretty legendary guitar player, still experimenting with music, still being in the studio, getting to work with all of these artists that you love, and as you mentioned earlier, getting to be an artist in America in 2024, which is no small feat. What brings you the most joy as an artist? Is it being in the studio? Is it performing? Is it writing?
It's really all of it. It's really all of it. I mean, I'm in rehearsals right now, and it's so fun. I mean, it's a puzzle. It's how do we, okay, tweak that? How do we, it's uh, refine. But it is so fun to play music, and it's so fun. It's going to be extra fun to play music for people and with people, I really love all of it. And you kind of get into different gears as a person. When you're on the road, you're like an athlete basically, and studio is a little bit more, you're finding it, you're obsessed, you're finding it. But I love it all.
Annie, I love the record so much. Thanks so much for talking to us about it.
Yeah, thank you.